What's up, culture makers? It's Sav here.
And Tanner.
We are so excited to be with y'all today. We are talking about some really great stuff. First, we have our big question of the week, which is, what do I do when I feel stuck?
Can't wait to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Kim Kardashian's response to Balenciaga. We're going to talk about Sav's favorite show on Netflix right now. And we're also going to talk about a really interesting American study. Let's get to it.
Okay, Tanner, we have this week's big question. What do I do when I feel stuck?
Well, I've never felt stuck before. Have you ever felt stuck before in your life?
Yeah, for sure.
No, I'm kidding. Absolutely kidding. Yeah, run into that daily. There's like kind of the big picture things of life of what am I gonna do? Like, who am I gonna marry? And then there's like the little things of like, I just wish that I wouldn't feel so anxious all the time. Or I wish that my response wouldn't be one of anger in these type of situations. You know, I don't wanna get grounded again, whatever it might be. And I think that there's some really interesting things that we can process through today. So there's three things that I want to bounce back and forth.
Give it to us.
What does it look like when we feel stuck? So this applies to anything that you might feel stuck about in your life. The first thing that I would say is you want to try something different. Do something different. So the definition of crazy is to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result.
Yeah, makes sense.
I've been there a time or two in my life. Yes. At times we need to take a step back and think of what can I do differently in this situation? How can I prepare differently? Is there anything that comes to your mind when you think of you had to take a step back or you had to do something different to see the result that you wanted? Anything like that that's happened for you?
I can't think of a specific like scenario right now, but what I do think about is a Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
I think about trying to get all the colors aligned and keep spinning the same direction.
Yeah.
And getting so frustrated.
That's how I solve the Rubik's Cubes.
Okay, maybe
because I've never solved a Rubik's Cube.
Okay, period. I was about to say, I was like, maybe that works for you. It's not.
It doesn't. There's definitely a system to it.
I don't know the
system.
system.
Never figured out the system.
Let us know, guys.
Yeah.
But that's what I think about, and I get so frustrated because I can't figure it out. And then as soon as I start turning it in different ways, that I have no idea what I'm doing. But all of a sudden, because I switched it up, it's now starting to line up a little bit. That's what I first think about.
So we could do something different. We can try something new. Sometimes we have to try a different approach to kind of unlock how our brain thinks about what it might be that we're dealing with. Okay. So it could be that you're running into a homework problem that you're just can't get over, and maybe you just need to step away from the situation, go do something, and then come back, and you may look at the problem and see it in a completely different way than you saw before. And that's something that like I feel like applies to all kinds of different things in life. One of the things that I always try to remember is something that my mama used to tell me, Sav. She would say, keep it simple, Tanner. And then sometimes she would say, keep it simple, stupid Tanner. But it was yeah, that's what we're here for today. I think that a lot of times when we feel like something is too hard to figure out, we're way overcomplicating it. And we need to think of what is the simplest way to handle this situation. And a lot of times that's where the answer is found, is to take a step back, to not get so drawn into the emotion or to the frustration or whatever it might be. And I know that that can be something that is so easy to buy into or get sucked into, but take a step back. What is the easiest and simplest way for me to figure this out? And also ask yourself the question, like, if someone was coming to me with this issue right now, what would I advise them to do? Because I think God's given all of us wisdom.
For sure.
And a lot of times we know the right answer, but we just need to lead ourselves into the right answer. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I just second what you're saying about taking a step back. I always think about, I'm looking at this and it's almost like getting tunnel vision. And the more frustrated I feel, the more confused I feel. And it's just like logic is going out the window because my emotions are taking over.
100%.
And whether that's a conversation with a friend or maybe even with your parents and you're getting frustrated because you feel like you're just going in this circle, you can lovingly say, I need to step away for a moment. I feel myself getting upset. Step away, take a deep breath, call onto God's name. Like, God, give me wisdom, give me patience right now, and then come back to it and just feel that moment, feel that peace. I feel like I really relate with that.
Yeah, I really think that perspective is wise because too often we like buy into the emotion. And I know Sav would never say this, but I just feel like for me personally, sometimes I get into those like moments where I'm really emotional and then like I have the option of doing exactly what she just talked about, which was really wise. And then other times I'm like, We're here.
Let's talk about it.
Let's fight. No, we're going to fix this right now. You sit down. The people in the chat just got really scared.
Relate with
I'm
that
sorry.
At all.
Last thing that you can do. So if you feel stuck, you can do something different. You can try something new, and you can shift your focus from what God isn't doing to what he is doing. And I think that that's really, really cool to know that we have that inside of us. Like that's something we can all choose to do every single day, because a lot of times it's really easy to focus on the negative. And instead of focusing on the negative, what we can do is we can focus on what is happening around us that is good. And so when I say that, Sav, is there anything that you've had to practice, whether it was gratitude or just taking a step back and looking at what was right rather than what was wrong, that has really helped you in your life?
It's so easy to get lost in the day-to-day things, whether it's like work or traffic or homework or, you know, all these plans that are building up and now I don't have time to do my laundry. Like all those things, it feels like, but the moment, again, take a step back and then look at like, man, I am busy, but I'm busy with really awesome things. Like I get to go have coffee with my friend who I haven't seen in a few weeks, or, you know, especially right now with the holiday season, there's Christmas parties, and it can feel like a task if the perspective is wrong. But the reality is we get to get together and celebrate with people that we love all the things that God has done this year. So the gratitude, the mind shift, for sure, something I'm practicing right now in this season.
Something I was really convicted of that kind of applies to exactly what you're talking about is a lot of times we pray for God to like give us things, whether that's people, friends, to have the opportunity to play sports at our school or to be in the band, whatever it might be that applies to you. And then we can almost resent the thing that we prayed for. And I think that that's a really, really big thing for us to process through is, are we currently resenting what we used to pray for? And what does that look like to come back to a place of, okay, God, help me grow in this moment and go beyond where I currently am. Help me to shift my focus and shift my perspective to what I need to look for, who I need to encourage, who I need to speak words of life to, whatever it might be. Like, I just think that that's such a big deal that we can take part of to help be the change that we want to see.
Come on!
We're gonna shift just a little bit. Some really crazy news came out of a story that was written about Balenciaga. So they really crossed some lines with advertising
marketing,
what a new line of clothing was that they were pushing. From that, Kim Kardashian, she decided that she was going to step away and actually cut ties with Balenciaga. And it reminds me of what Paul said to Timothy when he talked to his brother, saying, you know what, you should live so far beyond reproach that you never even toe the line of sexual immorality. You should stay as far away from sin as you possibly can. And I think when we consider our friends, when we consider the music that we listen to, when we consider the shows that we're watching, if we kind of get that icky feeling of like, should I be doing this? That's the Holy Spirit speaking to you saying, hey, like we need to cut this out. Like we need to just step away, because we never want to toe the line. We never want to see how close to the line we can get until we're sinning. In fact, what we should do is get as far away from that line as we can so that we don't fall into temptation. Because I don't know about you, Sav, but it's easy for Tanner to fall into temptation. Like it's easy for me to mess up. It's something that I have to battle every single day. And so I'm not going to try to put myself in a situation where I hope that I make the right choice. I'm going to do what I can do to make sure that I don't fall into the wrong temptation. Anything you want to add to that?
Just like you said, we want to stay as far away from that line as we can. I know in a past episode, I shared about boundaries and asking for help in boundaries and accountability. Meet with your small group leader, meet with one of your friends that maybe you spend a lot of time with, and just be like, hey, whenever I listen to this artist or this music, or I've been watching this show lately and it kind of makes me feel a little uncomfortable, share that with them and ask them to help you be accountable in that.
I love
that. It is not shameful. You should never be embarrassed to ask other people for help, because that's why God gave us community. He wants us to walk together and help each other move forward.
Yeah, I love that so much. Okay, the table is set for you to completely take off. Talk about your show. Just go. You just go.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, the show he's referring to is Wednesday. It is a spin-off of Addams Family on Netflix. Tim Burton, Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's why I'm pumped. First of all, there was like over 300 million hours of it being viewed in the first week.
Yeah, it actually beat Stranger Things, which is absurd to me.
In week 1.
Yeah.
In week 1. First of all, that's already amazing. Second of all, here's why I'm personally really excited about it. This is the first time that this character has been played by a Latina actress. And in this show, there are references of Dia de los Muertos. There's references of her tia being from Mexico and all these things. It is the representation for me. It is this family that is like supportive and encouraging, and I love to see that. And I hope that this show is, one, entertaining because it's a really good show.
Yeah.
But two, also encourages you guys that as you see Wednesday growing in this show, that you know that anything that someone has said to you that's like, hey, you're never going to be this because you're this, or you can't do this because your family's this, that you know that the God that rose people from the dead lives within you and says, those are not the words I have for you.
Yep.
You can do so many things because I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I hope that y'all see that in this.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody.
Did you binge watch the whole thing?
Wow, that's a really personal question. I'm not gonna lie to you. So here's the tea. They are like 50-minute episodes. It's a whole season. I might have watched it in 2 days.
Way to go. We connect through our weaknesses, not through our strengths. I've been there too.
That'll preach.
Okay, last thing, as we wrap up, a really interesting study that was done about Americans and how they spent their time during Thanksgiving. Some studies showed that Americans spent 38% less time with friends and family members this Thanksgiving than they did in years past. And this is a really big example of how people have kind of separated themselves, especially post-COVID and into this new world where it can be really tricky to know how to surround ourselves with the right people and people that we want to be like and want to be around. And I know that you're really passionate about the right community, the right people in your life that can speak words of life to you, that can remind you who you are, exactly what you just talked about. And I also think it just reminds us too of what we've already talked about in our challenge today, that if that applies to you, if you feel stuck when it comes to your community, if you feel stuck when it comes to, okay, well, I just don't even know how to process what I'm feeling internally with somebody, anybody around me, here's what I would want you to do. We're gonna do something different.
Come on.
And so if you feel like that it's the same old, maybe you need to go to a local church close to you and you need to invest yourself in the right friends and in the right people. And to have great friends, you get to be a great friend too. And so you start there. You can try something new. So maybe that is going to a different coffee shop, trying something new at your school, a different club, sitting somewhere new at lunch, sitting with someone who maybe you've noticed maybe looks like they're left out before. Something like that can maybe lead to some of the best relationships that you will ever have. And then the last thing you can do is this, is to shift your focus from what God isn't doing to what he is doing. And just in this moment, even if it's right here as you're watching this online, is to remind yourself of this. God has given you the opportunity right here in this moment to shift your focus. And so all you have to do is ask, hey, God, give me new eyes and a new heart for me to experience what it is you're doing, because God is always doing something brand new, and he's doing something brand new right here and right now. So as we close out this episode, I want to remind you, do something new. Shift your perspective and watch God show up.
So guys, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions that we can talk about and process with you, we want to be able to do that. So put it in the comments below. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.